Congrats if you've made some money off of Amazon. The ticker ran after earnings. We ended the week at $244.22, up 9.58%. This is where we are. To the north side takes us to one level of resistance. I've marked out a VWAP in the blue. That is 247.37. Above that, another level of resistance and a potential take profit area, 255.05. And at 3 standard deviations, 261.27. And down the road, 267.72. The middle of the trend takes us to this area, which is 242.31. I will anticipate a bounce off of that if we hit that line, which we are very close, so we should. Or we could just chop sideways for another leg down to consolidate or go up again. And let me change this color. I like to put my price label in purple for 2025. This yellow line is from an area I marked in 2024. Now, many levels of support and resistance in between, but -2 standard deviations takes us to 229.73. This is another potential buy-in area, a potential stop loss area, as well as this line at 223.53. That is a gap closure. And then below that at another potential buy-in area and another potential stop loss area, 216.83. Now looking left, we had this gap, which was an expected move to the upside. That took us to 229.94. So we gapped down and then we filled it on the way up. So that is no longer in play. This is clearly resistance, and then the sell-off happened. Basically, we barcoded sideways. Now we don't know if we're going to go down or go up, but the 1-year price target, now that we've already hit our level, is 285.21, which represents a 16% return from where we are. And the analysts say above that is 335 based on 73 people. And then to the downside for a pullback, 240. There's always a pullback after a run. You can expect that. And we have gaps to the downside that I am tracking. That will take us to, what is this lower one? I'll mark it out later, but that one will take us to 201.33. And, oh, wait a minute. This gap closed. This was an expected move, and we touched right there. Let me go left and see, when did I mark that out on the 15? Right here. Well, now it's moved. So that has to populate here. There we go. Let's Option R to reset. So this gap touched. And that opened on basically Tuesday. The last earnings we had on the 5th. So this gap, okay, look at this. We gapped up, so then it took us that long to fill it. So this is out of here, no longer in play, no longer a threat to our count to the south side. This is the next one, well, after that one, but this one. Let me mark that out. Where did my, oh, duh, right here. Okay, and while I'm here, I might as well just mark this so I can, 290. There we go, I'll just delete that. And what else? 201.40. And then down here, that would be really bleeding out. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Now, I have not cleaned up this chart in a while. So this was a gap, but look, it touched here and I haven't cleaned it up, so let's do that while I'm here. And it touched right here, an expected move to 236.03, and we were bleeding out back then. That closed on February 25th. And that's closed. And then what about this 208? This is still dangling, and it touched right here. So that gap is out of here to the upside. So congrats if you went long at that point. And that's done also. These are all done. So let me get rid of those later. Okay, let me just show you this on the daily. Option R. Watch out for the RSI there. So our next window to the upside takes us to 258, and back at the base takes us to 227.29. Oh, my friends bought in down here, so congratulations to them. That's the first time they ever bought an individual ticker. So they've always wanted to own it, my friend's husband, and he did it. So congrats. They won't be selling. Although I might take some off of the top. But, you know, will we get down to this level? I mean, there's a gap that will take us to here, but I don't know. That might be a long ways off, so. All right, and then the RSI on the weekly, and then I'm done. Okay, that has plenty of room to move. And on the monthly, also room to move. Let's take this back to the 5. Now, I'd like to show you what's running in Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund. So Amazon, Team up 5.45, AON up 3.81, Tesla 3.76. Palantir, I'm in this one deep, up 3%. Oh, you know what, while I'm here, let's just look at it on the 5 very quickly. It's been a while. So we have a gap that will take us down to there, and let's mark out, this is the price label, $200.47. I will change the color to denote the end of the day's price. All right, levels. We're basically, well, VWAP is in the blue at 201.13. That's resistance from where we are. VWAP also lines up with the middle of my trend that I like to mark out, 202.67. Here's resistance, 207.15. Down the road, 209.28. And then after that, 211.38. To the south side, this gap forms at roughly 198.59, closes out at 196.26. And another support area, 193.93 for a potential buy-in as well as a stop loss. This is resistance, and we sold off. Resistance, sold off. Grinding along resistance, sold off. Your clear buy signal. Now, the last one is going to be DXCM, a healthcare ticker, Health Technology Medical Specialties. And I have not tracked this one in I don't even know when. That's okay though. Is this a buying opportunity? Well, we're close to the 52-week low, but we're still in a downward channel, so we could bleed out some more. We haven't cracked the real oversold area, but getting close. So we are at VWAP. And 60.10 is the middle of the trend. That's resistance and a potential take profit area. 65.98, 69.03, 71.91 support, 54.11, down the road 51.22, and 48.20. Here's resistance. I don't care what the news is. What happened? We tanked. Consolidating here, barcoding sideways. When you see that, you know that something big is going to happen. Either we're going to go for another leg up, but in this case, we cracked. And And just for giggles, when is the last time I looked at this? Oh, look at this. Here's your support and a buy-in on the daily. So we could go out to 55.59. And here's, oops, Command Z. So that's the potential to, on the upside, 107. And we had a gap that I fill. This was an anticipated move. Where are we? Wait, did I grab that in the correct spot? Yep. All right, this gap is no longer in play. Touched right there on the Thursday, July 25th. That's been forever since I've looked at it. That is no longer in play, so congrats if you went short and you made some money there. All right. Okay, I'm going to quickly go over a ticker. Let me go back to the 5, and I will stay on page. Option R. Okay, let's go to a pot sticker. Okay, I'm going to give you some price levels. First, let's mark out where did I end the week, right? 449. Oops, right here. All right, the next level up, because we are at resistance, so I will anticipate a pullback. So the next leg would be 452 to the downside, right here, roughly at 447. We're at 449, so we're around this area. And then 441, the middle of the trend, takes us to 431. So I'll anticipate a bounce off that if we get to that level. And then 420, 415, 409. And I have shares here at 439, 423 as well, and then lower. So on Friday, I sold this lot that I owned at 438 for a return. Oh, I thought I made more. Let's double check the numbers. Coordinates. Yeah, 438, and then I sold out at 447. Let me just change this just to make sure. Sometimes I have to reset this. Yep, for a 2.5% return. And previously I could have sold out, but I didn't. So I'm like, I'm going to get out, still on the downward channel, and I want to buy in some more, probably around, I'd really like to pick it up down here. So I will put in an order at 420 just in case, and then maybe a couple other orders down here. But I have traded this one many times. Oh, let's talk about this gap is closed. That took us down to 446. Right, I have to go do laundry. It's about to click. Okay, that took us down to 448. These are anticipated gaps that are no longer in play if you wanted to go short at that point. All right, delete. All right, let's see. On this one, I'm up and down on this one. 4.63, and I do own some shares also at 462 after we started to bleed out. But that's okay. I've traded this for many years, so I am not worried about it. And the 52-week high is 723, the day 450. All right, that does it for me. I hope you have a great trading week.